other thing, and I happen to be on the board of Lakes Region General Hospital. We've not fired anybody, but do not make us go back to that urgent care, walk-in care again. We've been there, we've done that.
How did it work?
Didn't, obviously, which is why we're now back to emergency care.
Did you put him in the emergency room instead?
We have to, we don't have a choice, because we did. We had absolutely, you walked in the door, and if you were just a bad cold or something,
Yeah,
you went over
urgent
here.
care.
You went to emergency. I mean, there was a reason, there was...
I mean, if it's a broken arm, it's pretty obvious. Here's the bone sticking out. But if it's,
Well-
oh, I don't feel good. Let's go to
We
urgent
went
care.
there, we tried that. And it didn't play out because people kept, those that went, and you had it, I mean, you've been there as well. Somebody got incensed if they were sent to, not the emergency room, but sort of walk-in care.
If they're paying for it, they can be incensed. If we're paying for it, let them be incensed.
Would that we could.
Yeah.
Give us the power to do that, and perhaps we could.
You were quiet today, though.
Skip's got another one.
I don't, try not to shout.
Find out an agency. Don't count.
See, I listened to what you say.
Yeah.
You mentioned the con board, saying that we just talked about LRGH, and the depressing of the competition that it does here in New Hampshire.
Right.
There was an effort earlier this year to try to do away with some of the commissions and licensing boards, because, for instance, to be a beautician, you have to go through so much, and it costs so much for the education if you're going to braid hair or do some other kinds of things. Why do we have a con board if the whole idea is to be able to promote competition, to be able to provide health care at a lower cost, higher quality? The first thing that you want to do is to reduce the regulations, including the ability for an industry to self-protect itself.
I believe it was an invention by the Senate and the governor so they could all collect money from the hospitals for their campaigns. That's my own feeling. I agree with you. I think it's totally unnecessary.
Is there, or would there be an effort to get rid of it?
Yes, and it would get killed in the Senate with about 14 envelopes from the Hospital Association.
Now, can you explain to the people why Medicaid for the hospitals is a scam? Because it goes in by 8 and it's out by 5?
We need Tom Keene for that. He's a guy that
Alan.
knows. I was never on Division 3. I was on Division 1, Division 2. I never got into HHS as deep as I did into the other. Medicaid, especially the double dippers that are Medicaid, Medicare, and then they sit there trying to figure out who's going to pay the bill.
Right, but the money that the hospitals are screaming about that we supposedly stole
All
from
right,
them.
so here's what happened. For years, back in the 1993 timeframe, the federal government said if you help pay disproportionate shares for the Medicaid patients, we'll match whatever you give the hospitals. We took the 8% meals and rooms tax and we put it on the hospitals. It doubled the base. It doubled the base for meals and rooms. Instead of being about 100 million a year, we went to 200 million a year. Now we turned around, we gave the 100 million a year that we took in from the hospitals back to them. They got to keep the 3% collection fee that you get if you're a restaurant and you pay 8% meals tax. You get to keep 3% of the 8%, not 3% total, but 3% of the 8%. You get a little bit of the tax. The hospitals got everything paid back plus the 3%. They didn't know what to do with it. Some of them just put it in a holdback account or something, trying to figure out when we'd ask for it back. And so they were happy. And then the feds came and gave us 100 million. We called it Metascam, and we kept it, put it in general funds. So the hospitals cooperated. They weren't hurt, they weren't taxed. They don't pay. 24 out of 26 hospitals, including Lakes Region General, no BET, business enterprise tax, no business profits tax, no meals and rooms tax, no property tax. There's 2 hospitals that operate at a profit. Parkland in Derry and Portsmouth. Together they send 20-some million dollars a year to Hospital Corporation of America. Gee, they must charge a lot more money. No, in some cases, they charge less than the not-for-profits. How the heck does that work? And every year, like Exeter Hospital, they're buying up. So in 1993, we passed a business enterprise tax. We got doctors, lawyers, and accountants that never pay us any business profits tax. They always just split up the money amongst themselves. No profits. Let's get them with a BET, business enterprise tax. That's going to tax your payroll and so on. So what happens? The next year, the hospitals go to the doctors and say, look, we'll give you $125,000 a year. You're going to be a hospital employee. We'll take care of your clinic. We'll take care of your receptionist. We'll take care of your nurse. But if you're at a hospital, which nobody would put this on record, but they tell me in confidence, you're going to bill the Exeter Hospital $550,000 a year in tests. A friend of mine has his test repeated 3 times. He said, I don't know what the heck's going on. Why don't I have a test? The doctor brings me and says, well, you know, Alan, this test just isn't definitive enough. I'd like you to take it again. Maybe the results will be more definitive and I can give you a prediction. You're waiting to find out if you're going to live for 10 years or tomorrow. Gee, I guess I better go get another test. All right, all right. Here we go again. You know, Alan, this test just isn't definitive enough. I think you needed to. No, wait a minute, Doc. I took it once. It wasn't definitive. I took it twice. It wasn't definitive. I'm be damned if I'll take it a 3rd time. So he's telling me this story, and then the years go by, and I'm thinking, he was short on his quota. He couldn't talk anybody else into a test, so he's going to see if he'll take it a 3rd time. And it was the most expensive test I ever took. I took one test down the street, at any lab test, anytime, $49. I go to see the doctor. He said, you can get it right down here at Exeter Hospital. Oh, okay, I'll go down there. I got a bill for $166. Same kind of test. What the hell is going on? So, I'm not happy about hospitals. I think they rip us off, especially Exeter. So, I look in the 20 largest employers in the state of New Hampshire. It's in the bond thing that the treasurer makes up. Lots of data. I like to read that too. I read all boring stuff. But anyway, 10 of the largest 20 largest employers in the state, hospitals.
Wow.
Sometimes 10, 20 million in surplus because they're not for profit. And they buy up labs, they buy up doctors' practices, they buy up dental practices, and they put them all under the core group or whatever they call themselves. And of course, if you're not going to get referrals if you're a specialist unless you cooperate with the core group and pay your dues.
So wait a second, I was the patient a moment ago.
Now you're the doctor. Now you're the specialist.
You just got your degree.
Yeah, I guess.
This is multitasking. Yeah.
Okay, so I go to the doctors.
Yeah.
This is what happened in August. I went to one doctor, and I had to pay a facility charge, plus the doctor's bill.
Yeah.
They referred me to another doctor in the same group, under Lakes Region General, and I had to pay another facility charge to go to this guy's office, who sent me to a 3rd place, a pain management guy, again, a facility charge. I said, wait a minute. Why do I have to keep paying the same facility? Well, that goes back to the hospital.
You all need to make a living.
So,
I
had a very harsh word with some young girl, about this big, 12. And when she said to me, oh, I need you to fill out this form, I said, just fill this form out, this place, and that place. If you're all under the same facility and paying the same facility check, and you've got my file there,
broke the code.
what do I need to fill out all this paperwork
Those
again?
people had to keep jobs.
If you have a problem with that, and I understand, because I would too, but don't take it out on that young girl, because poor lamb, all she's trying to do is what she's told to do, which is what...
She's not supposed to be a robot.
She's only 12 years old.
Okay.
Croc TV.